Whatever. Hi guys. So we discovered something when I did my last Nick Rambles, and that is when I go to upload it to Facebook, YouTube I mean, I end up crashing out the internet at the place that I'm at. So whoopsie day. I guess I can't be doing those uploads in the middle of the day anymore. It keeps people from doing their jobs. So we're recording this one on the evening of Saturday, October 9th. It'll be available to you guys the morning of Saturday, October 10th. You get to wake up to, hopefully, my cheerful, smiling, and happy voice. Maybe providing a little bit of thought, a little bit of insight, a little bit of excitement towards your day ahead. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another beautiful day. It's Saturday. Saturday being Saturn's Day. Really good for those deep lessons, deep experiences. I find it funny that it's most likely the hangover day after Friday because, well, if you went out Friday night, you're here racing, not marathoning. Keep that in mind. And now here we are dealing with the consequences of that over maybe a hangover breakfast. So that's just the way it should be sometimes. Neither here nor there. That's not what I want to ramble about first today. What I really want to talk about is moon phases. Why? Because it's fourth quarter. It's the final bit before we get back to a new moon and then get ready for that bloody Halloween full moon. Drivers in this city, oh my lord. So we're going to be observing during the next little bit the ending of things and the concluding of ritual and experiment and study and process. What's that mean? Well, the fourth quarter is usually when you want to go back and cleanse the altar of the ritual, cleanse the area of the energy, put things back the way that they're supposed to be, make things right. And so the energies here today, for the next little bit here, should be in alignment with that, so long as you keep the focus on letting go of the process of trying to build the habit and accepting the habit as part of your regular routine. If what has been working for you has been working out well, perfect. This is the time that implementation will finally come the way that it's supposed to be. But if it hasn't been working out properly, or if it is something that you do just have to let go of, this is a good and easy time to do so as well. We don't hold on with our emotions quite so tightly during the fourth quarter, which is why it's both a blessing and a curse to cancers like me. See, it's a blessing because we need a break every now and again. It's a curse because we don't do well when you give us breaks now and again. So it's just one of those things you got to balance out with. Figure out how you respond to it, to the energies, and to the flow of it. The fourth quarter of the puzzle is to let go so you can start over again. So that you can see the egg no longer as your home, but rather the world that the egg has birthed you into. Always see yourself proceeding forward, proceeding forward, proceeding forward. Now, that actually came into effect yesterday. I think it was yesterday. So that would be Thursday, or was it today? I think it was today actually, Friday. So Friday, when we hit that point, the shift in energy should already be in good swing, and with most of you waking up right around this point, I imagine it'll catch up to you guys pretty quick here as well. Let it just sort of wash in and wash out old energies, old stray bits, old stray vibes. Let yourself be liberated in that motion and in that movement forward. Why? Because you need to set new intentions in approximately a week. New moon is a good time to set those new goals and that new focus and that new dynamic. And this moon is going to have a pull on it. It's going to pull so hard. Why? Because it's a blue moon. The second moon in this calendar month makes it a blue moon, which makes it a rare occurrence, which makes it automatically weirder. Why? Because Bob says hi. What is Bob? Bob is the universe. Bob is my cosmos. It shows up in random probability. And what is the random probability that we would see ourselves hitting one of these fortunate things like this? Well, rare, based on the system that we've designed. That doesn't actually work well with the calendar's usual movements. Realistically speaking, our system of calendar is weird. Anyway, neither here nor there. Blue moon is going to be very powerful in manifesting and bringing great new things to us. It's going to reconnect a lot of old connections. It's also happening smack dab in the middle of the Mercury retrograde. So it's going to have a lot of enhancements tying towards communication. Not just communication that you want to have, but the communication you don't want to have either. And needing to be able to handle that appropriately is key. See, I see this, or actually the pagans see this, the time of the year that the veil between our reality and the other reality is at its thinnest. Why? Because Hallow Eve is the eve of when things are razor thin. So letting ourselves go into a spiritual mindset and spiritual flow is almost naturally occurring around every Halloween. We let out a little bit of what is at our soul level, whatever it may be that needs to be unhinged, unwrapped, released. Now, the fun of this, well, we all have fun on Halloween, let's be honest. It's one of the best holidays, and should be honestly the only holiday, but it's the best holiday in the entire calendar. The downside to this, well, that means that the things that are coming up are going to hit you deeper, harder. They're going to hit you on the soul. It's not about the body, it's about the soul. It's not about the mind, it's about the soul. It's not about the heart, it's about the soul. This is about what your soul is connecting with, your higher self, higher consciousness, maybe even a little bit of your goddess, a little bit of that which is ruling and reigning high, high above you. There's my next segue, goddesses. See, I try where I can to keep an eye on what's going on in movements and everything around me. And this is one of the things I really, really appreciate about the large collective that I have going on around me. See, when I have so many people that talk to me and communicate with me and tell me what they got going on, it lets me know what batches of people around the world are going through. It allows me an opportunity to recognize and see what we as a collective are going through. It helps me find the patterns. It's usually the patterns I'm trying to read more than anything else. Now, there's been a pattern emerging of Freya emerging. Freya being in the Norse culture. We're going to have to do a lot of research to make sure that I'm speaking properly on that one, but very, very strong, intense energies coming through with a lot of fire. And that would be, for me, as soon as I got 3, I start to try and look for it, and then it usually populates itself after that. And I've got 3 now, 3 lovely witches all across my spectrum that have had an occurrence or experience with Freya recently. So I think for a lot of people, this Halloween is going to be about connecting more with that inner goddess and inner strength dynamic. It's going to be connecting with that which gives you a sense of form and power from up above and high above. It's going to be uniting you with that which helps to give your programming and your function a little bit more direction. I'm not saying it's going to answer all the questions for you, because we don't get that much fun in this life. We have to go through the work of figuring out what the answer is supposed to be. But what it does get us is a great opportunity to really experience what may be going on in larger cosmic and larger flows for us. It gives you an opportunity to see larger picture, larger ordainings. It gives you all the flow that you need to reach that which can come next. Good experiences, basically. And that's why I like Halloween. It is empowering in a lot of ways to give us that greater connection, greater flow, that greater sense of spiritual and united self. We become unified in ourselves, operated within ourselves, basically a function of our higher consciousness and our higher flow. Now, why then do we become so weird and so different, so varied on Halloween? Because people sometimes like to let out a little bit more of their sides. Well, what's probably the most repressed part of yourself? That expression, that fire within a passion of what you like to see is not necessarily risque, but maybe more voluptuous, voluminous, consumptive, that which gives you that intensity of consuming with passion. I've got this guy coming up behind me so tight. Initially, I thought it might be someone that's going to turn on red and blues. I don't think it's that, though. I think it's somebody that just likes to go really, really, really fast. This is going to be interesting later. Where was I? Right. We let out more of the sides of ourselves that are probably more restrained. Every Halloween, I just play myself, whatever myself and state of myself might be at that point. Why? Because it's the time that I feel like everyone can join me on just being upfront and crazy, upfront and weird, upfront and unique. It's the thinnest point between that which is real and unreal, or from our perspective unreal, from the real perspective, the sublayer beneath everything, the weave of energy that helps to unite everything, the thin strands of thoughts that unite everything that we want and need to experience to understand this process that we call life. I love Halloween. I've come back to that. I've talked a little bit about the blue moon. Blue moon's being that intense energy, intense boom, but I'm going to get more into that as we get closer. Right, Mercury retrograde. There's one thing that I need to make sure I come across. So Mercury retrograde is coming up into play here. Mercury retrograde being a period when, from our angle here, Mercury's going to look like it's shaking back and forth in the night sky. Why? Because, well, angles are a weird thing when you're dealing with 3 dimensions. Not necessarily something that humans usually get, because we're pretty two-dimensional when you consider that we just look straight, not necessarily even up and down very well. And it's not like we've lived, grown, or raised in aquatic areas, which would otherwise give us a stronger sense of 3-dimensional space. I'll get more into that on another point because I've got a perfect example from pool the other day, what would help to explain that concept a little bit more. But neither here nor there. We've got Mercury retrograde, the shaky bits coming up again. Now, this is going to affect the planet most in the fact of communication, expression. Mercury goes to shit, and electronics go to shit. I've been noticing it across a lot of my stuff lately, dropping calls and this and that, and a lot of it, it's right in the shadow period. It's about a week before. It tunes in nicely. The 13th of October is when this comes in full tilt. And what's going to happen is our capacity to communicate to one another, to communicate even with ourselves, is going to be a little bit upheaved. And my biggest thing, I'll look through and see if I can find my Mercury retrograde survival guide, or I might just make a new one at this point. But making sure that you're recognizing that you need to take things at a slower pace. You need to take things bit by bit by bit, not trying to rush into the moment and into the situation, because rushing is only going to end up making waste. Haste makes waste. Or at the very least gets you a speeding ticket. Really, do you want either or? Right, I wasn't supposed to order this. Oops, whatever, fix that later. You want to make sure that you're not, what's the wording? Not putting yourself in situations that are otherwise detrimental to your well-being. So don't push it so hard during Mercury retrograde. Take a step back, observe, evaluate, go through the experience of understanding all the perspectives, all the angles, all the transformations, all the flows that are happening with you. It's huge on the evolutionary state of sitting within oneself. I've got magpies diving at my car. Not necessarily at my car, there's something on the side of the road that they're going for, but they were just swooping in, and angling was going really, really badly for the second one that was coming in on the tail end. Speaking of three-dimensional spaces again, Bob says hi. Slow down, don't move too fast. You gotta make the retrograde last. So make sure that you're looking after things at an angling and a pacing where you're just watching and observing, not necessarily interacting quite so quickly. They do caution in tradition not to do anything of legal documentation, signing things and putting your signature on things during this time period. And yeah, well, it's paid out fairly well for some people I know. And there is other dynamics where it becomes more, what's the wording? Prudent. Just prudent to think about how you're communicating and what words you're saying. Are you using the words and the expressions that actually matter? Words are vessels of power. Consider what power you're applying with which words. You can say the same thing 20 different ways with English. That's why I hate English. But you can also articulate a feeling by using one of the different terms and different understandings. Can't think of an example off the top of my head right now, but absolutely aware that, given the time, I could probably give you a few million. So trying to talk about reading and leading, it just gets messy. I've done the retrograde, I've done the Halloween. I'm trying to think what else is good to wake you guys up with. And honestly, nothing's immediately popping to mind. And the rambles, I'm supposed to keep at 15 minutes. Why? Because it's supposed to be tidbits of information. The teasing, tantalizing, torturous nature of these talks is meant to. Oh wow, I ran out of tease. So let's finish off then. I hope you guys all have a great Saturday. Honestly, Saturday is one of my favorite days. Always has been, always will be. Because it's one of those days where it is constantly ritualistic. No matter who you are, your Saturday is geared around something somehow. Even me, working completely for myself, stumbled into my Saturday being seriously ritualistic. So get out there and grab those rituals today. Consider how you release, relax, de-stress, and let go of all the things that have happened over the course of the last 3 weeks. Think of this as a time to say goodbye to the process of what you were working on and open yourself up to what new processes and new possibilities could come along. And with this change and with this transition of energies, I trust and I know and I absolutely believe you guys are to come into new feels, new vibes, and new flows of yourself. It's like shedding skin. You're letting go of that what has become old, tied, grabby, scaly, all those other little things that go wrong. It's entirely in the element of making sure that you're working with yourself to evolve and grow into the newest, highest, and most evolved state of yourself. That is the power of a fourth quarter, to help yourself see yourself pushing through that concept and pulling from yourself on the other side. You guys are gonna do great though. And this Saturday, it's going to be restful. It's going to be bright. It's going to be a blessing. It's going to help you guys feel that everything is all right. And wherever you're at and wherever you go, may you be safe and may you be well. Whatever trials and tribulations may challenge you upon this path and upon this way, may they be light and not constant slight against you. And however and in whatever fashion you lay yourself down at the end of the Saturday day, may when you wake up Sunday it not be feeling the hangover of a wild, crazy spree. You're all awesome. You're all the best. Doing this periodically now, and we'll see how it goes. Think and help me out. Let me know what you want to hear about. Let me know what you want to hear about on a morning show, on a morning broadcast, on a morning bleep. Finalizing a broadcast schedule for the next couple weeks. Got some things getting trained for, so outlook's a little bleak. However, I'm fairly sure we'll be able to catch each other again on Tuesday and Thursday. And beyond that, I'm here where I need to end. So thank you, my friends. Until next, we do this.